Okay, everybody. My name's Kevin. Welcome to my shop. This morning, I am going to be doing another scrap piece pin assembly. Had a friend of mine, an acquaintance, asked me, how do you do that? And I said, well, it's really difficult. I can't hardly explain it, it's so difficult. But what I do, I pick out and cut the pieces that I want, an approximate size, thickness. Once I get it to this point with the colors I want to use, today it's going to be blues and purples with one piece of red. So I have a jig here that once I get these trued up on my disc sander, and I'm going to show you how I do that right here, right now. What I do is I take my pieces and just set them on my platform for my disc sander, and I have a piece of wood, maple, that's trued up square to my fence. And what I do is I take each piece, put it in here. I take my little deal here. I think you get the idea of what I'm doing here. So when I'm done, I'll show you what I have. Okay, I just finished up the last piece. And then we go back to my workbench. And then I have just two pieces of 3/4 inch plywood, approximately 8 inches long on the bottom one, probably 10 or 12 inches long on the top one. I can tell you for sure, 11 inches on the top one, and 8 inches on the bottom one. And all this is, it's got box tape on there, and that's just to help keep the super glue from sticking. So what I do is I start out, I take medium CA, make a little puddle like that, take my next piece, put a little bit of accelerator on it, and put it on the jig, and stick them together. Take my next piece, a little bit of accelerator there, medium CA, and I just work my way down the line. Watch that you don't get your fingers stuck to the CA. It's a rascal to get that loose. Try and turn it over there on my lathe. Might get a little painful. Alright, allow that last little piece to dry there. Wipe some of the CA off of my fingertips. A little bit of persuasion, and that comes off. And there you have your blank in its rough form. And what we do now is go over to the table saw, go a little bit on the open side first. Helps to plug it in. Some more. There more. Do the top. Alrighty, there we have it. All cut, all glued, all my pieces glued together. And then back over here with me, back down on the table, and clean sheet of paper towel. lay out my pin kit that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a cigar style pin kit in black chrome. Lay this out on my bench. I go to my grinder, stick a drill bit through here, and I just let that turn on the grinder wheel, and it's rough like it is the ones you get from some of the big name companies. And what I'm getting at is I want to save as much of this blue on this end and as much of the blue on this end. So in order to do that, I'm going to cut the middle out of the center section of the wood. Alright, let's go over, cut that section out. But here's what I did. I cut more of the center out of this piece of cherry in the middle, and then I left more of the pieces on the end that I want to get into my pin kit. So what I'm going to do now, have a swallow of coffee, because that's most important in the morning. And then I'm going to take my thick CA glue. You want to put enough glue on your tube so that it coats the inside of the pin blank, but not so much that it's dripping all over the place. I see some guys that put it on and let it drip all over their workbench, and I'm like, why waste that much glue? That dried in a hurry. I'll tell you, when the humidity is way up, your CA glue will dry faster. Especially pushing it into a hole on a pin tube like this, it just tends to set up really quick. Now look at that. I just goofed. I gotta go drill again. That CA set up so fast on the end of my tube, or inside of my blank, there was no way I was going to push that CA through there. And it's done dried on that tube, pin tube already. So that's how humid it is right now in Green Bay. Alright. As I'm pushing in, like I always say, twist back and forth and push it in back and forth. That way you spread your glue evenly on the inside wall of the pin blank, and then we have perfect. Wipe off that little dab of super glue, accelerator. That one's good to go. Now go again, super glue. This time I'm using medium because it won't hardly come out of the other bottle. It's ruined. It hardened up that quick. That's set in 0.5 seconds. And that glue, that tube is in there, never to come out again. So, I've got to go to my junk bin. Alright folks, as luck would have it, I've got a spare tube. See if it's the same size. It is. Now I got to go to my drill press and try and drill that out successfully without ruining the blank. Okay, with my patch job that I did, where I had to re-drill that hole, I put a little bit of fine sanding dust around the tubes on the ends, and it worked out really good. So now I'll have to take an X-Acto blade and right in the end of the tube where all that extra CA was, just trim the CA around it. That looks really good. Now I'm going to go over to my Jet 1221 lathe. Alright, turn on some light, and then I need the long one first. That one goes on, put the other bushing on, it fits. Bring down my tailstock. As usual, I start out with my 3/4 inch roughing gouge. Now I take my parting tool and address the end. I just like to do it this way because I've been doing it this way for so long. It lets them sneak up on that bushing. Okay. Next I'm going to come in with my easy wood tool, carbide tip. Because of that sound, I'm going to take some thin CA and saturate that burl. Let that set in for a couple seconds. Okay, I was turning at 3,500 RPMs for the cutting. Now I'm going to do the sanding, and I'm going to sand at about 1,500. I'm going to start out, and I'm going to use my 400, and I'm going to dry sand this to try and get rid of most of those swirls. Once I've achieved that, I want to take the length of this, left to right, and get out all the scratch marks. Alright, now I'm going to go to 1,000 grit sandpaper. And now I'm going to clean it with acetone. The acetone dries really fast. And now I apply my CA. Now turning at about 1,000 RPMs, apply my thin CA, both ends. A little squirt of accelerator. Alright, there I have 6 coats of thin CA. I want to check my finish closely, see how it looks. It's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to go to a medium CA. And I'm going to stop it. And I'm going to see what kind of ridges I got. And I did. I got ridges in there. So I'm going to add one more coat. I'm putting this on there pretty heavy. Stop the lathe. I'm going to check again. I still got ridges in my finish. So I'm going to let that set for just a few seconds. Okay, now I have a clean piece of paper towel. And I'm going to take, and at a slow speed, about 1,000 RPM, I'm going to first take 1,000 grit sandpaper, and I'm wet sanding those rough ridges that I got when I put my CA medium finish on there. And I'm creating a slurry with the sandpaper. Now I'm going to wipe that off. Stop the lathe, and I'm going to check and see how those ridges look. Alright, they look really good. Got most of them out. I'm going to take my brown 1500 in my micro mesh, and I'm going to get by the bushings first, and then just a wipe in the center, by the bushing, by the other bushing on the other end, wipe in the center, wipe that off, stop the lathe, and I'm going to look and see, and I've got just a little bit of grain pattern right there and right there. So I'm going to go to my next grit in my micro mesh. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time with this. Wet my micro mesh again, go back and forth, and then I'm going to check and see how my finish is. Alright, all of those swirls are gone. Now once I've done that, I'm going to go back to my thin CA, and I'm going to put a coat on there, put a coat on there, accelerator, then another coat of fine, thin, sorry, Another coat of thin accelerator. And what I'm trying to do now is I want to build up the finish on my pen. Another blast of thin CA. Another wipe. I want to stop my lathe again, and I want to take a look, and I want to see if that's building up clearly. And I'm looking good right now, so start the lathe. Thin CA. Thin CA. Alright, that looks good. One more coat ought to do it. If you remember in the beginning, I put 6 coats of thin, 3 coats of medium, sanded it down, then came back, wet sanded it to check it, then went back and put another coat of thin, 5 coats. There we go. Stop the lathe. That one's smooth, that one's smooth. Feels good, looks good. Now I'm going to go back in with my micro mesh, turn up my speed a little bit, about 1500, and I'm going to go in from where I left off. No need to go back to the course in the micro mesh. I'm going to start off with black, and the black is 2400, and I'm just going to do this lightly. Light touch there, and wipe. Go to the next one. And then I'm going to go to the 12,000 at the end, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time here. All this really does, because it's so fine, is buff the finish between the fineness of the grit and then the water. You're just polishing. Wipe that off. Now stop the lathe. You're going to look at it. Make sure there's no fine scratches anywhere in your finish. This is your money-making pen right here. You want to take care of it. You want to make sure it looks really good. I want to sell this for top dollar. So now that I'm happy with that, I've got my Ultra Gloss. I'm going to take this, apply it slow, on slow, then turn the speed up, wide open. I want to find a clean section of my paper towel where it's clean and dry. And then I'm going to buff this with a light touch. Don't get crazy and put a lot of pressure on here. If you put too much pressure, then your CA gets hot and then it'll melt. And when it melts, it puts a ridge in your finish. I'm just barely applying any pressure on this at all. Just a really light touch. I'm going to take a little bit of carnauba wax and just lightly touch it there, there, and there. Take my rag, find another clean, dry spot, light touch, go back and forth. Find another clean spot, go back and forth. I'm done. Leave it alone. Make sure your paper towel is clean. Then you're going to slide it off. Now, because I can't get that bushing out of that pen blank, I have to do this a way that I don't like to do because it's hard on the bushing, but I don't have much choice here. Use a pair of pliers, and then you get little ridges in your bushings, which kind of stinks, but sometimes you don't have a choice left. So now, clean work site. I'm going to check the ends of my tubes to make sure there's no ridge of CA. There I go, touching it with my dirty fingers again. Grab a paper towel, pick it up, inspect it, make sure that the ends are clean. You don't want any of that CA that just created that slurry whiff to be on the ends of this pin bushing at all, or the pin itself, sorry. So then that's good to go. We're going to grab our press. I was informed by Penn State Industries that this pin press is no good for putting pins together. So it's all I have. It's what I'm. All right, there you have it. Leftover blank pieces, cut-offs. Where's the sunshine? There it is. Okay, all this extra pieces of cut-offs from your pin blanks, if you save them, you can turn that into a pretty nice pin. That's a wrap. Tell me what you think.